Hey everyone, and welcome back. I've had an order for a buttercream horse cake from a customer, and I thought it would be a great video opportunity for me to record for you guys, so bear with me. I'm just going to make this cake for someone, and I've got the recipe tripled here because I'm also going to make some cupcakes also. So if you want to make this cake at home, you may want to cut this recipe down to 2 times instead of the tripled recipe that I'm using here for the video. So I'm going to take 3 boxes of Duncan Hines classic yellow cake mix and dump them into a bowl and mix that with 12 egg whites, and we're going to mix very well in between each ingredient just to get that all incorporated before we add the next ingredient. Then you're going to add in 1.5 cups of water and mix that in. You're going to need to mix in 1 cup of vegetable oil. Then mix in 3 boxes of Jell-O instant pudding mix. I use the vanilla flavor, but if you want to change up the recipe, you can use any flavor you want. And lastly, mix in 3 cups of sour cream. Once all of these ingredients are incorporated, you can mix very well for 2 minutes after that. This will be a very thick batter, so don't worry about that. Go ahead, and I'm pouring this into a 13-inch square cake pan. That's the size horse cake that I'm going to make. You can use any size square cake pan that you want, but for this customer we needed a 13-inch cake pan, and the leftover batter will also make 18 to 24 cupcakes. Be sure you spread the cake batter in the pan as evenly as possible because it is a thick batter. You want to get a spatula, make sure it gets in every crevice and corner of the pan, and also spread the top out as evenly as possible because when you bake it, you don't want any lumps or any parts higher than the other part of the cake. This will bake in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Just keep checking it after the 30-minute mark. It could take up to 35 depending on your oven. Now that your cake's come out and it's completely cooled, you can start carving the horse's head out of the cake. And this particular customer has sent me a picture of one of her horses that she wants the cake to look like. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just looking at my phone as I'm carving the horse's head out of the cake there. Now you can go around the edges of the cake and make sure that you've rounded those off. You don't want them very pointy as in the shape of the cake pan or anything. Then be sure to go around the top of the neck of the cake and just take a layer of that off. The horse's neck is going to go in a little bit in comparison to the horse's head, and we'll give the horse a little more depth as we add the buttercream frosting to it. But also make sure you go in and cut a small hole for the horse's nose and cut out a small little place for the horse's eye to go. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to make my buttercream frosting. This recipe is also doubled. So you're going to start out with 1 cup of shortening, and to that you're going to add in 1 cup of butter, which is equivalent to 2 sticks, and we're going to mix that around until it becomes light and fluffy. Once your shortening and butter are combined and light and fluffy, you can add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And once that is combined, you can add in 8 cups of powdered sugar. You want to turn the mixer on low speed before you do this so you don't have a cloud of powdered sugar that coats your kitchen. Now once your powdered sugar has been incorporated, you can go ahead and add in 4 tablespoons of milk, and that should make everything a lot smoother and ready to use. Now I'm just going to quickly go over the cake completely with a very, very thin crumb coat just to catch all of these extra crumbs, and then we'll go back over it with the real coat of frosting. When the crumb coat has had a few minutes to set and it's no longer sticky, you can go over it with the second coat, and you can also put it in the fridge for a few minutes and it should help it set a little bit quicker. I'm going to go over this with the real coat of frosting and just add in extra frosting to the horse's neck where the horse's muscles may be, and I'm going to add in a little bit of extra frosting on the cheek there, and that is where the horse's muscle in the cheek will be. Don't forget to coat inside of the horse's eye and the horse's nose as well, and around the edges of the cake. And you may want to put a little bit of muscle in the horse's on top of the horse's nose where that bone is and on the top of his head. And once this frosting has time to set, then we're going to go ahead and smooth it out. So now I'm going to go ahead and smooth out all the icing on top of the cake, and I'm just going to take a cup of warm water and my icing spatula, dip the spatula in the warm water and then dry it off completely because you don't want water on the cake. And I'm just going to spread the top of the cake out as evenly as I can, and I'm going to just spread out the icing that I have on the muscle area of the cake, on the neck and on the cheek there, and I'm going to leave it thick. I'm just going to make it flat and not lumpy. Now I'm just going to go ahead and apologize in advance for this next part of the video. I am actually going to airbrush the colors of the horse onto the cake, and my camera completely ran out of memory on the memory card as I was in the middle of airbrushing. So you actually don't get to see this whole process, but what I've got is some black and brown airbrush color. I'm just going to load it into the airbrush and start airbrushing the front of the horse cake, the colors of the horse. Now here I've just got some marshmallow fondant that I've made at home, and I've colored it black, and I'm just going to roll up a little ball for the horse's eye, and I'm going to get the airbrush and put some clear coat inside of the airbrush and just color that, make it look a little shiny like an eyeball normally would. And I'm also going to take the black fondant and roll out the horse's ear and shape it. Now I've just got some pink marshmallow fondant that I've colored and made at home, and I'm going to cut that out in little strips and place it on top of the cake and make little reins for the horse. And I've also colored some marshmallow fondant gray, and I'm going to use that to make the buckles for the reins. And next I've just attached the horse's ear using toothpicks and placed that into the cake. And I'm going to finish up the horse by putting on the mane with an icing bag and a 133 icing tip. And I'm going to put some black hair on top of the cake. And there you have it. There's my finished horse cake. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I have a new video every Sunday. I will see you next week on Simply Basic Recipes. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.